The story was birthed really out of my own personal desire to kind of remind everyone that like everyone has a story, everyone has a reason that they're led down a path, everyone has influence and perspective that is different from each other. And ultimately the heart of the story is about found family and love. Yeah. And how that can change someone for the better. So the story ultimately comes from a very real place for me.
Congratulations on an amazing new season. One of the things I love about this show is how it depicts moral ambiguity. You know, we're all a mix of good and bad. Why was that a theme you wanted to explore with the show as a whole? And then how did you want to take that further with the characters this season?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, I think personally, just as a human and as an artist, and also just as, just honestly being a woman whose entire career has existed on the internet, I think the theme of redemption and growing from mistakes and being flawed is just something that resonates to me as a person and just existing as an online creator and yeah, like I said, like a woman, like there's just so much nuance in that conversation. And I think being online, I've seen the rise of things like cancel culture or like whatever that hold people to really past things or things that require nuance or were personal between two people that became public. Like I've seen every shape of it. I've been involved with every shape of it as a creator. And I feel like just those themes of redemption have always mattered to me because it matters in your real life, like your relationships with people who have hurt you and going through those experiences of moving on, forgiveness, like growing from trauma. Like I've been on the receiving end and I feel like I've made mistakes as a young artist that I've had to grow from. So I've seen every angle of it. And so the story was birthed really out of my own personal desire to kind of remind everyone that like everyone has a story, everyone has a reason that they're led down a path, everyone has influence and perspective that is different from each other, and it can lead someone in a good path or a bad path. And ultimately the heart of the story is about found family and love. Yeah. And how that can change someone for the better. And that's something, again, I've experienced firsthand and I care very deeply about. So the story ultimately comes from a very real place for me. I think
that's such an important reminder. And I mean, like you mentioned the theme of redemption, which obviously is throughout both seasons. But I mean, I think the cool thing about season 2 is it really explores like what comes after. Oftentimes, like in terms of religion, we talk about, redemption is like the end all. And this is like, okay, but what does that mean for everybody else? Like how does that change the way that we think about rules when we think about that? And I think this season kind of does that. I'm curious how you decided to explore that specifically, that aspect of after redemption.
I love that. These are great questions. I feel like to me it's because the theme of redemption and the concept of redemption is so broad and vast, and like even I as an individual person and a storyteller don't have all the answers to it. And even in the writing room, we all could differ on our opinions. Some people felt like one crime is irredeemable. Some people felt like no, it's not that. There's the perspectives even within the writing room differ so much that to me I wanted the show to kind of explore it, but also it doesn't have the answer. So a lot of the show is about finding the answers and even just having conversation about it. And so like I wanted even just the fact that redemption can happen, but a character who's redeemed like found family in a place where they are now separated, and maybe that redemption wasn't the thing that ultimately that character wanted. Like all those kinds of themes I just think are so interesting to explore, and I'm excited that this season got to be the follow-up, and people in the audience can see that obviously the show at its heart is about redemption, but that doesn't just mean the point A to point B of this character got redeemed. It's like, well, how and why and what does that mean to that character, what does that mean to this character, and what ultimately the theme of redemption can continue to be as a theme throughout the show as it evolves.
I love that. I want to change gears a little bit and talk about the casting. You've got some really great new Broadway people this season, Liz Calloway, Alex Newell, Andrew Durand. I'm curious, what led to those casting choices, but also just like how the actors helped shape the characters once you got into the recording room.
Casting makes such a big difference on the character. Like, obviously, I will have a character in like a voice in mind. Sometimes we get that person, sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's something like I have a vibe, but I have no idea who will play it. So we do like a audition to find what that voice is. But finding once we land on the voice of a character, it changes everything because like I know what voice to imagine when writing them. What we all in the writing room kind of it's made it easier too as we do more than one season to know the cast as well as we do, so we can write it in their voice and we know what it'll sound like. And so with a new character, it's always fun because it's finding that and getting to establish that. And I've always been a massive fan of Liz Callaway just because I grew up with her voice in so many things. And so to have her, because I feel like I'm sure she's voiced animation before, but she's usually like the singing voice. She'll come in and do this phenomenal performance as the singing voice of a character. But I really wanted, I was like, I think that what's special about her character is that she gets the whole thing. Like that is her character. She's the singing and the performance, because she's just such an iconic actress. And as somebody who grew up with her voice, I'm so honored to have her in my universe. And then a lot of the casting will come from seeing these amazing performers live and just being blown away by them. Like Andrew Durand, I saw in Shucked, and I saw Alex in Shucked as well, and just blown away by the performances. And Alex especially, I was like, he just has one of the most unique voices in that country sound, which I'm actually a big country fan. And so hearing like how distinctive his voice is in kind of that genre made me go, oh, like we got a cowboy character, like I know who, you know what I mean? I know who would be perfect. So sometimes it's as amazing as like just being familiar with somebody's incredible performance in something and seeing how good they excel in a certain genre or certain sound, and zeroing in on that when we have the opportunity. And I just love getting to work with all these amazing people in the Broadway world.
Yes. Well, speaking of Broadway, I just have one more question for you. You know, you recently had this amazing event at the Majestic Theater. I'm curious what it was like for you to sort of experience this world live on Broadway, and also could there be more Broadway in the show's future in some capacity?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I have no idea when, how, but the momentum of that show, I think, opened everyone's eyes, from the cast to the crew to the studio. Like everyone, I think, realized the magic that can be captured on stage with these performers, with these characters, with these songs. So obviously there's nothing to spoil. There's nothing happening this second, but I 100% think that there's more Broadway in the future of this show. But for me, I think the most special thing about being part of this event was not only am I an enormous theater kid who's been in and out of singing lessons my whole life, but never truly ever thought I would make it to a Broadway stage. Even to the smallest capacity that I did was the biggest honor in my life. So there was that, but also just being part of the machine of like, you know, rehearsals and how fast everything went and how like rigorous it was and how structured and how many people it takes to create a production on stage. As somebody who works in animation also takes a village, but it's so, you know, since the pandemic, we really have not had like an in-person studio culture. Almost everything's been done digitally. The main production's being done in Australia. I'm in LA. It's all virtual and it's all collective. Everyone's doing their part, but it's all kind of happening in this realm. So to be in a physical space with this many people working together, making something happen, seeing how the process was, it was really inspiring to me. I loved getting to be a part of the behind the scenes of it all and get to go through the theater and see the entrance points and the exit points, and it was the coolest thing for me. So it's a true honor and special.
That's amazing.